In this video, I'm going to show you what I consider a really good training session with a 3-month-old colt. When are you going to start training him? I hear that all the time. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have been training this little guy since the moment I laid my hands on him when he was minutes old. Every time I touch this horse, I make sure that it's with quality. Today is August 16th, and I'm working on some separation here. And they're doing so good with this kind of stuff. I really hope that this helps with the weaning process. I just want to make it as easy as possible for both of them. I don't want it to be a traumatic situation. But for right now, just letting him know that no, being in a stall by yourself is no big deal, and he gets to come and go as he pleases. My daughter's pony Bear is really worried about being in a stall. And I've got a couple other horses that have been that way too. And somebody was telling me that, you know, one way that some folks wean horses is they bring the mom and baby into a stall and then take the mom out and the baby's left in the stall. And if you think about it, that's a really traumatic way to go about it for that baby, because the last thing they remember is their mom was there and then suddenly she wasn't, and the feeling that they have while being in that stall. So to be left with that feeling of sheer anxiety over, oh my gosh, where'd she go? And I just don't want that. I want him to be in there and be content. And he's got the ability to come and go, so there's not that stress of I'm trapped. But eventually I will be shutting the door, and then maybe he can just go out in and out that back door and, you know, make it so he can still leave, but you know, he can't see his mom. The mosquitoes are bad, so I'm like, hood up. I like the fact that I got these windows on this door that I can open and close, because Nika can stick her head out and they can still see each other, so that's good. So anyway, this is just me experimenting. It's what I do. It's how I like to watch the horses and see how they react to things, to determine what I feel is the best way of doing something. So he's pretty happy here with his grain. Now, eventually, I want him to be able to eat his grain off the floor, but he can't reach it yet. So I think we're pretty close to being to that point, so I'll just keep feeding him in the stall and make it so it's a really good routine where he knows he comes in, gets his grain, and then I'm gonna keep lowering this bucket so he has to reach for it a little bit more. But for right now, I just want it to be, I'm not gonna add that in too, because I don't want to cause any stress, but keep it as simple as possible. But what I don't want is him putting his dang feet up there. That's not going to help anybody. I want to be in here with him a lot too, and petting him and just kind of being around him when he's eating. It's good for him. Hey, little dude. Whoopsie. Watch that step, it's a doozy. Here, how about we go in the stall? I'm really taking so much advantage of this moment that I have with him while they're eating. He absolutely loves to be groomed. And what a great opportunity. You know, I have this opportunity to spend with him. I'm going to be out here anyway. So if I could just make it that much better for him by grooming him. I love a horse that is expressive when they're getting groomed, you know, and he's just like, oh, this is wonderful. So if I can do this kind of stuff with him now, I want him to think that humans are awesome. I want him to have the best experience with his humans. And I can take this opportunity and pick up his feet. I can get him good at all that. And then brush him a little more. And then I can pick up a back foot. Oh, what a good boy. brush him a little more. I can put my arms over on this side of him and feel under his girth. He can see me on this side. We can work on changing eyes that way. So many good things to work on here. It really doesn't take a whole lot of effort. I can rub his flank, get him comfortable with that. One foot. Okay, this foot. Oh boy. And I just pick it up, and when he's soft with it, I set it right back down. I'm not going to try to make him hold his feet up or anything like that. When I rub him, I've got my hands on him real good. I'm not doing too light of a touch because that can be kind of stimulating. But it feels good to him when you rub. Patting does not feel good to a horse. So when you pat him real hard like that, I'm not going to do that. That scares them. I want him to be easy to handle for anybody. I'll be the one primarily handling him, but you know, something could happen to me. I want to make sure that this guy's pretty set up for life. You know, make sure that if I'm not around to take care of him, he's easy to handle. Because if a horse is easy to handle, they got a better chance at a good future. So good. I can give him a good hug before he's too big. Now, he kind of moved a little bit. That's fine. I gave him a little hug. I want him to be okay with, I'm going to hold you. I want him to stay put. I'm going to hold him. There. As soon as he gives that pressure, I release. I'm working towards halter training him by doing that kind of stuff. I want him to give the pressure. I want to make sure that he's so used to me walking around him. And Clover, you're not you're not helping me. So I want him so used to me walking around him that it's just completely normal. Because if for some reason he's someday, you know, I don't know, loose in my arena and some kids run behind him for some reason, which no, I don't let kids unattended run behind horses, but if something happened, I want to make sure that he is comfortable with it. I don't want him to be nervous about movement behind him. So I'm trying to go around him a lot and get him really comfortable with people being behind him. It's important. The cool thing with horses is they don't care how you look. They don't care how much money you have. They don't care what kind of car you drive. They don't care about any of that kind of stuff. All horses care about is how you make them feel. When I decide to swing a leg over his back someday, I feel like I might have a better chance of him being comfortable with it. You know, for him to be so comfortable with me having my hands all over him like that, and, you know, knowing that all I have to do is just reach down and rub on him to let him know you're okay. It's going to be okay. I'm excited about that. I'm really looking forward to this whole process. This right here, folks, is the world's friendliest cat. She's obnoxious. I can come back here and I can work on the start of doing a tail pull, where we take a hold of the tail. I can lift on it, add a little bit of pressure to it, get him used to, I'm rubbing him at the same time while I'm putting pressure on his tail. This is good for him. This is an excellent stretch. So I just have a hold of his tail. I don't know if you can see me very good or not, but I just got a hold of the tail and I'm just putting pressure on it. This is good for them to have their tails handled, because if something ever gets caught underneath it, had that happen just a couple weeks ago. One of the kids was sitting on her horse and holding on to a pony. Her horse turned and the pony's reins ended up underneath her horse's tail. Could have been a really bad situation. The horse she was on, I got him broke to drive, and so he's used to having a crupper under his tail, so it wasn't a big deal. But like this little guy, this is great for him to have me hold his tail up, have him get used to something being under that tail. They feel vulnerable. I'm just going to kind of apply some pressure downward and let him feel that nice stretch. This is good for his back. He's kind of leaning into it a little bit. Probably feels really good. Now I'm going to give. See his butt go up like that? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to get a good grip on his tail head. And I'm going to bring it down and back. This is an excellent stretch. Our vet shows us this all the time. I've seen her do it on a lot of horses. But he goes to leave like that. I want to make sure, you never want to just like drop the tail. So I got to make sure that I go with them a little bit and keep that pressure there. He's like, oh, what is that? Take this opportunity to pet his ears. I've been handling his ears since he came out of the womb. Every time you touch a horse, they're either training it to do something good or training it to do something bad. So think about that the next time you touch a horse and how you touch it and what you do. I try to think about that all the time, and gosh, I could get so much better than I am, but I'm learning. I'm still learning. I will always be learning. I'm just trying to be better, always. Oh. Oh, that neck is so muscular. Yeah. So muscular. And when I'm used to having his tail brushed, it feels funny. That's all I'm going to do with him. And that was a little, I don't know, I spent, like I just can't. I can't get away from them. They just come everywhere. My animals are taking over. He's probably been in this stall for a total of 30 minutes away from his mom. There's not been one single noise from either of them. They're both just munching on their food, eating hay. He's getting brushed, loving every minute of it. Now he's got a cat scratching on the wall that he's watching. All of the little things that he gets to see. But that was a great, I consider that an outstanding training session for him. We get to work on a lot of different little things, and none of it was a big deal. It was always, all of it was just really easy going, no big deal, and that's what I like. I like every time I work with a horse, I like it to be just, hey, we're just here hanging out and doing some stuff together, and no big deal, no big deal. That's what I prefer. So anytime I can make it be that way, that's what I like to do. I don't like to have conflict with them at all. No stress. I don't like stress for me or for them, I don't like getting kicked. I don't like getting bucked off. I don't like any of that stuff. It's not fun. It sucks. And they don't like it either. They don't want to be that way. The only time they do those things is when they're trying to protect themselves for some reason. And I don't want my horses to ever feel like they need to protect themselves. Well, if you want to learn more about horses and follow my journey with horsemanship and continue watching Manzer's journey, you can start by hitting that subscribe button and be sure to ding that little bell so you don't miss anything. I really appreciate all the comments that you guys leave me. I love hearing your questions and what you have to say about the videos and about Manzer and anything else, the cats, whatever you want to talk about, I love hearing about it. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.